The United States entered World War II not just as a combatant, but as the industrial engine of the Allied forces. This was the arsenal of democracy, churning out machinery at a scale the world had never seen. From the smallest reconnaissance scout cars to massive experimental heavy tanks, American assembly lines defined modern mechanized warfare. Today, we are cataloging every single ground vehicle that rolled out of U.S. factories to crush the Axis powers. No stories, just steel. Let's verify the inventory. Light and medium tanks. We begin with the scouts and the backbone of the armored divisions. First up is the M2 light tank, a pre-war relic used primarily for training. Armed with a .50 caliber machine gun and thin armor, it was effectively obsolete before the first shot was fired, but it laid the groundwork for what came next. Moving on to the M3 Stuart, known by the British as the Honey. This light tank was fast and mechanically reliable. However, its 37mm main gun was largely ineffective against German armor, relegating it to reconnaissance duties in the European theater. The next one is the M5 Stuart, an upgrade to the M3, featuring twin Cadillac engines and a redesigned hull. While it maintained the weak 37mm gun, its automatic transmission made it a favorite for drivers, serving as a dependable scout until the war's end. Up next is the M22 Locust, designed as an airborne tank to be carried by gliders. It was a technical flop. The armor was paper-thin, and it often had to be transported with the turret removed, making it useless upon immediate landing. Continuing with the M24 Chaffee, the ultimate American light tank of the war. It finally brought a potent 75mm gun to a light chassis, combining speed with enough firepower to threaten enemy medium tanks. It was a late-war masterpiece. Next on the list is the M2 medium tank, another pre-war design that never saw combat. High silhouette and outdated trench crossing rails made it a training-only vehicle, serving merely as a stepping stone. Moving on to the M3 Lee and its British variant, the Grant, a classic stopgap measure. It featured a bizarre configuration with a 75mm gun mounted in the hull sponson and a 37mm in the turret. It was tall, awkward, and vulnerable, but it provided crucial firepower in North Africa when nothing else was available. The next one is the M4 Sherman, the undisputed workhorse of the Allied forces. Not the strongest nor the best armored, but mechanically reliable and easily mass-produced. Armed initially with a 75mm gun, it won battles through logistics and numbers, rather than individual superiority. Up next is the Sherman Firefly, a British modification of the US M4. They crammed a massive 17-pounder anti-tank gun into the turret. It was one of the few Allied tanks capable of knocking out a Tiger I from frontal range. Continuing with the M4A3E8, nicknamed the Easy 8. The peak evolution of the Sherman. Featuring the wide-track HVSS suspension and a high-velocity 76mm gun, it offered a smoother ride and better anti-armor capabilities, becoming legendary in the Korean War later on. Next on the list is the M4A3E2, known as the Jumbo, a heavy assault variant of the Sherman. With extra welded armor plating making the turret nearly impenetrable, it was designed to lead columns and draw enemy fire. Heavy tanks and tank destroyers. Now we move to the tank hunters and the heavy hitters designed to break fortified lines. First up is the M6 Heavy Tank, a massive 60-ton failure. It carried a 3-inch gun and a coaxial 37mm, but it was too heavy for portable bridges and suffered from logistical nightmares. It never saw combat, remaining a domestic curiosity. Moving on to the M26 Pershing, often debated as a heavy or medium tank, this was the American answer to the German Panther. Armed with a devastating 90mm gun and low-profile torsion bar suspension, it arrived late in the war, but proved that American engineering could match German ballistics. The next one is the T28 Super Heavy Tank, an experimental 95-ton monster designed to breach the Siegfried Line. It had no turret, resembling a massive self-propelled gun. It was too slow and arrived too late. ultimately becoming a museum piece rather than a combatant. Up next is the M10 Wolverine, the definitive U.S. tank destroyer, built on a Sherman chassis with an open-top turret and a 3-inch gun. It sacrificed armor for firepower, designed to ambush panzers and relocate, though its manual turret rotation was dangerously slow. Continuing with the M18 Hellcat, the speed demon of the war. Built on a unique chassis with a radial aircraft engine, it could hit speeds of 55 miles per hour. It was the most effective U.S. tank destroyer, using shoot-and-scoot tactics to decimate heavier German armor. Next on the list is the M36 Jackson, also known as the Slugger, the evolution of the tank destroyer doctrine. It mounted the massive 90mm gun on an M10 chassis. It was one of the few American vehicles capable of destroying a King Tiger from a distance, serving as a vital equalizer in the Battle of the Bulge. Self-propelled artillery and AA. Artillery conquers, infantry occupies. These are the mobile guns that brought devastation directly to the front lines. First up is the M7 Priest, the standard American self-propelled howitzer. Built on the M3 and later M4 chassis, it mounted a 105mm gun. It earned its nickname from the ring-like machine gun mount resembling a pulpit. Reliable and ubiquitous, it provided immediate fire support for armored columns. Moving on to the M8 Scott, a 75mm pack howitzer mounted on an open-topped M5 Stuart chassis. Designed for close support, it was fast but offered little protection for the crew. As tanks got bigger guns, this assault gun concept became obsolete and was phased out. The next one is the M12 gun motor carriage, nicknamed King Kong. It mounted a massive 155mm gun on an older tank chassis. With no rear protection and a giant recoil spade, it was a specialized bunker buster, famously used to crack the Siegfried Line at point-blank range. Up next is the M40 gun motor carriage, the successor to the M12, built on the wider Sherman HVSS chassis. It carried the 155mm long tom gun. While it arrived too late to see extensive action in World War II, it proved the validity of heavy mobile artillery. Continuing with the M16 multiple gun motor carriage, famously known as the meat chopper. An M3 half-track fitted with a quad 50 mount, 4 50 caliber machine guns. Designed for anti-aircraft use, it was terrifyingly effective against infantry, mowing down waves of attackers in the Pacific and Europe. Next on the list is the M19 multiple gun motor carriage, a late war development mounting twin 40mm Bofors guns on the M24 Chaffee chassis. Faster and better armored than half-tracks, it represented the future of mobile anti-aircraft defense. Armored cars, half-tracks, and amphibious. This category covers the eyes of the Army and the hybrids that crossed water and mud. First up is the M3 half-track, the definitive Allied armored personnel carrier. With tracks in the back and wheels in the front, it was a mechanical compromise. It offered mobility but poor protection against overhead shrapnel. Despite its flaws, it was the universal taxi for mechanized infantry. Moving on to the M3 Scout Car, or the White Scout Car, an early 4x4 armored car. It was heavy, underpowered, and had poor off-road performance. While the US moved away from it, thousands were sent to the Soviet Union via Lend-Lease, where it found a second life. The next one is the M8 Greyhound, the primary American armored car, a 6x6 wheeled vehicle with a 37mm gun. Fast and quiet, it was perfect for reconnaissance, though its thin floor armor made it a death trap against German mines. Up next is the M20 armored utility car, essentially a Greyhound without the turret, used as a command vehicle or cargo carrier. It was the high-speed runabout for officers who needed light armor protection near the front lines. Continuing with the LVT series, known as the Alligator or Buffalo. Originally a civilian rescue vehicle, it became the key to the Pacific Theater, a tracked amphibious landing vehicle capable of climbing over coral reefs that stopped standard boats. delivering Marines directly onto the beaches. Next on the list is the DUKW, legendary as the Duck, a six-wheel drive amphibious truck based on the CCKW. It wasn't armored, but it was indispensable. It ferried millions of tons of supplies from ships to shore, making invasions like D-Day and Sicily logistically possible. Soft-skinned vehicles. Finally, the unsung heroes. These vehicles had no armor, but without them, the war would have been lost. First up is the Willys MB GPW, the Jeep, the icon of American mobility. 4x4, rugged, and infinitely adaptable. General Eisenhower named it one of the three tools that won the war. It served as a scout, ambulance, weapons carrier, and command car. Moving on to the Dodge WC series, affectionately called the Beep, ranging from 3/4 ton to 1.5 ton variants. These filled the gap between the Jeep and the big trucks, serving as weapons carriers, ambulances, and radio command posts. The next one is the GMC CCKW, the Deuce and a Half, the backbone of the Red Ball Express, a 2.5-ton 6x6 truck that kept the Allied armies fed and fueled. Over 500,000 were built, proving that logistics is the ultimate weapon. Up next is the M25 tank transporter, known as the Dragon Wagon, a massive armored tractor-trailer combination, designed to recover disabled tanks and transport them to repair depots. Its armored cab allowed crews to retrieve damaged vehicles under fire. Continuing with the M29 Weasel, a specialized tracked cargo carrier originally designed for a covert invasion of Norway. It excelled in snow and deep mud where no other vehicle could move, proving vital in the difficult terrain of Italy and the Pacific. From the nimble Jeep to the hulking Dragon Wagon, this arsenal overwhelmed the Axis powers through sheer industrial output and mechanical reliability. Quantity, in this case, had a quality all its own. Which of these vehicles do you think was the true MVP of the war? The combat-hardened Sherman or the logistical hero CCKW? Let us know in the comments.